Sounds of Stadia, my favorite podcast.
Hello, Stadia gamers. Welcome to episode 29 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. Join myself and my co-hosts Tom and Richie in isolation as we bring you the Sounds of Stadia podcast every Monday, coming to you from our isolation studios, bringing you the latest gaming news and topics from the week. How are you both doing, gentlemen?
Trapped in a box.
Trapped in a box.
Still.
Richie, still trapped in a box?
Yeah, I mean, this is the longest I've actually spent at home in a couple of weeks. I've already said a few times in the podcast that I'm still having to go in the office most days, but
Probably getting out.
You getting out of the house.
with it being the Easter weekend, it's this is like day 3, I think, of being just solidly at home and not set foot outside my front door.
I had a realization the other day that I hadn't actually been outside for 48 hours at one point, and I just thought I've got to break that. I've got to go outside because
Gotta get
literally
out.
48 hours without leaving, like going through my front door. Nope, couldn't do that.
You
That is
garden,
true.
sit outside, have a cup of tea, get you outside for a moment.
True.
Do you have a garden, Tom?
No, not this
Or like a
apartment.
communal
There's no
area?
communal area or anything. It's literally, if I want to get outside, I have to walk around the block, which is it's not the
Dangerous.
same. Not. Yeah. No, I'm going to come back with a few stab wounds.
Doesn't
Nah.
live in that bad of an area, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, we should. I suppose we should acknowledge that it is the Easter weekend. It doesn't seem very different from any other weekend right now, or any other day for that matter. But we just want to say Happy Easter to everyone out there who's celebrating and hopefully enjoying some chocky eggs and some little huns. We've got a little special surprise later in this episode that relates to that as well, which we will get into. Quick bit of housekeeping for everybody out there. We have episode 3 of the Spitling Spectacular went up on YouTube the Friday just gone, so go check that out. We talk about mushy peas and fish and chips and all the other hunger cravings that we seem to have whilst under lockdown. Don't talk about the game that much. More just what's going on in our worlds and our lives
What do
right
we
now.
miss?
What did we miss? Yeah, let
It's
us
an
know.
interesting flow of conversation.
Very.
It's just 3 friends talking shit. If you're new to the podcast, by the way, because there is some pertinent news that came out this week that may have drawn you into our show. So welcome. If you're new to Stadia, also welcome. You're in for a hell of a ride. This show, we talk about all the news and stuff, but mostly just talk shit about gaming and each other. So welcome. If you want to check some of that out as well, another video that we may as well mention is episode 11, the penultimate episode of our Tomb Raider Let's Play, brought to you using the power of Stadia, went live on Saturday just gone also. So jump in, check that out. It's all available to stream on demand now. Forget the Tiger King. He's yesterday's news. Where it's at is us 3 playing Tomb Raider Definitive Edition on Stadia, so definitely go check that out. And what else have we done, lads? Me and Richie, we were over on Chase, our good friend over there, at Phantom UFC fan, not a Manchester United fan, we've established before. Actually, if you listen to this episode, if you, Chris, I'm talking to you, did the editing right, you'll have heard Chase's lovely subtle singing tones introduce the show today, so we hope you enjoy that. Let us know if you want us to keep it. Copyright, we'll send him a check in the post. It'll get.
Will we?
I don't know. He may deserve some kind of royalties for those sweet.
We'll give him a shout out.
We'll give him a shout out. That's it. That's your payment right there. And any other videos? What do we do? What else is the lads? There's
Doom Eternal from Purchase to Play.
Yeah, our next installment of the Purchase to Play episode went live as well, where we basically try and showcase the power of Stadia and how it differs from other major platforms out there, and how very much from purchasing to getting on with the hell raising, you can do that all in under 2 minutes flat. Even quicker if we click the mouse a bit faster on when we download and purchase things. I noticed that when I was
missing the button.
just when I was editing the video. And like I was getting to the end of the video, and I was like, right, we're just ticking over the 2 minute mark. And then I went back and I realized, like, actually, how much like dead time there is when you just generally browsing around and clicking. And actually, from purchase to play, it's probably a lot less. But a hell of a lot less than a 60 gig download, that's for sure.
And there was Bethesda account creation as well in that one. So
yes, there was, Richie.
That takes a bit more time. If you already have one, you're in quicker.
It does seem to be
Even
like
quicker.
a similar theme and time across all games at the moment. They're like less than 2 minutes, and you cannot fault that, can you? Really?
No,
You really
not at
The
all.
load times are ridiculous. Went back to play Jedi Fallen Order, and I was dying a lot at first, and the load times were painful.
Don't you blame your deaths on load times?
No, I'm not blaming death.
Don't
Just
like
saying
this
it was
combat.
painful after I died to sit there and go, oh, what do I do for the next 5 minutes?
Yeah, I did find with that, it's weird that when you die, it has to load the full thing in. But if you jump off a cliff, bang, you're straight back into it with almost like a fraction of a second. But hopefully, if EA finally pulls the finger out and gets themselves over to Stadia, we may see Fallen Order in the near future, along with some sporting games and everything else. Fingers crossed.
We can only hope.
On that one. But again, for those newcomers and those veterans of the show, you will know what we mainly do is dive into the week's news, which has been a very, very exciting week. If you've not happened to catch it out there, some big stuff dropped on Wednesday, Tuesday. Doesn't matter what day it is because we don't even know what day it is today anyway.
It was a weekday.
It was a weekday. We can. I was at work, so I can confirm that is true. So, Tom, will you lead us off and match Chase with a singing voice?
Ooh. Okay, I'm not going to sing it. Come on, don't put the pressure on me. The Super
Sing
Sexy
it.
Special Stadia Story segment, aka the news.
The news! Out of sync with the power of latency and video web networking. But yes, we had a super busy week. Not many individual stories, but some juicy, meaty ones. Some Tom's Beef would like a bit of that. Definitely throw back to when we used to do that almost every week.
It will.
It seems to
find something beefy to talk about. We'll talk about it.
Our segments I've noticed over the 29 episodes we've done, the 29 weeks, gentlemen, worth of content. We tend to mix it up. We keep it. It's almost like a tapas style. Just come in and we'll just pick and choose the segments we want to drop in.
We have like a grab bag of segments that we'll just pick and select, depending what's happening. Really. There's a new segment. There's a new segment we may even have to add in after our appearance on StadiaTalk this week, which was Richie's male escort program. If nobody checked that out, we can probably draw attention to that. Richie apparently is also a male escort, and apparently,
who would have known?
Apparently, and they may or may not be a Patreon tier going up for Richie's services. But you'll have to check out StadiaTalk, and you'll have to stay tuned to their episodes to find out how that business evolves during isolation.
Wow.
We will see. But first, we might as well get on to the first biggest breaking news story of the week, which was maybe why a lot of you are here listening to us today, right now, this very moment in your homes, because you shouldn't be anywhere else. Stadia Pro has gone live free for 2 months.
Wow.
2 whole months for free. Out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, literally out of nowhere.
Like John Cena does all over the place. Now, there is a few pertinent points to this, so we'll do the rundown. So it was Phil Harrison made a statement on the Stadia blog. Something about it's the most challenging times in recent memory. Keeping social distancing is vital, but it's good to stay on for long periods can be difficult. Video games can be a valuable way to socialize, which I think we would all 100% agree. Probably we've done more socializing through digital means, and gaming is a massive part of that. I think even before all this happened, we were all 100% championing social interaction through games. And what they've basically done is Stadia is now out there to the world, with still in brackets 14 countries only. We're not quite out there globally just yet. We are, however, I say we're not.
Stadia, we're everywhere.
We're everywhere. Yeah, any podcasts and platforms, YouTube, you can get.
We've been literally listened to on 6 continents.
Yeah, 6 continents. Just Antarctica.
We're coming for you.
Yeah. So if you know someone who's in Antarctica, tell them there's no podcast. I really want that to complete the set.
Let's go for it. Get that trophy.
That would, to be fair, being in Antarctica right now would be a very safe place to be. You could walk for miles upon miles and you'd not come across another person. Yeah. But your internet's probably pretty shit, so we probably won't worry about that too much. But yes, so anyone who signs up will get 2 free months of Stadia Pro with instant access to 9 games, which included his Grid 2, Destiny 2, Thumper, and a bunch of other ones which we'll drill down into in just a moment. You can still purchase games as well, as you would be able to anywhere. And after that, you can opt out, as we know as the opt-out subscription model. But essentially, gentlemen, Mr. Phil Harrison and the great team over at Google Stadia have came out and give to the world, in these 14 countries, Google Stadia. Just like that. Is this base in disguise? Let's discuss.
There's one more, before we go into that, there's one more thing I do want to add, and that if you are currently a Pro member, you get them 2 months free as well.
Okay.
This is not just for new subscribers.
I'm also going to add something else on top of that. If you were a founder and you cancelled your Pro subscription, if you resubscribe, you get 2 months for free.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be allowed back in.
Basically, everyone gets 2 months for free.
Yeah, essentially that's what it is. It's just widespread. Everybody who's in the system, in the architecture, the economy. What? I don't even know where I'm going with that.
In the economy, the architecture, Antarctica. What?
I know ecosystem. Ecosystem is what I'm looking for. There we go. Get there in the end. Anyone who's in the Stadia ecosystem will get 2 months for free. It's as simple as that.
Which I think is a smart move, because I'm sure in another alternate universe this was rolled out free, and current paying members would have to pay regardless. Founders wouldn't be allowed. Any lapsed people wouldn't be allowed back in, and it would probably only work in one country. So it's something annoying like that would happen. But I think this one they've hit the nail on the head. It's a fantastic PR opportunity. We said on StadiaTalk that my opinion was that at the end of the day, it is still a business. It's a great move, and it's fantastic for people who are living in isolation, are struggling, and it gives them a really good outlet to play games and maybe interact with their friends or play something new, or just maybe break that routine that they're currently stuck in. But we've got to remember that as a business move, this is a great opportunity to market Stadia to the masses, get plenty of news articles, plenty of videos going live, but more importantly, plenty of new people in the door to test out this software and see the proof that is in the pudding that it works.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's got Google Stadia. I think if it come out the gate and a bit rocky, it's got a bit of a bad press, and it's got in the mind share of people. It is not a good platform. I think that's fair to say for a lot of people. But now there's no reason to not give it a go. And actually, it's actually a good platform. It works. There's a lot of features that they've announced previously that are not here yet. But the basics of the platform are very solid.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we saw already this week there was a massive spike in the user base, which we expected. But in terms of setting games, I know there's some people doing some cyber research over on Twitter, and they were seeing the numbers on Destiny 2, which no doubt, I think it was all of our first games that we tried out on Stadia.
It was my first game just because that was the only game I had.
Well, and that again, the great thing with people getting in the door now is the library of games that they're honestly giving out is fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll give a few more. So you've got Destiny 2, the collection. You've got Grid, which remember is a £40, $50 game that's still out there. Guilt, which is a Stadia exclusive, which I've seen a lot of people over on Twitter praising Guilt. A lot of people have jumped in new as an exclusive, so I think they've maybe tested Stadia out to get that exclusivity. Yeah. Which again, it just harks back to how important exclusive are to a platform. If this is just a taster sample, that's going to be huge. SteamWorld Dig, SteamWorld Quest, the Serious Sam collection, Spitlings, which we all know we love that here over at Sounds of Stadia, Stacks and Stacks and Thumper. So across the board, I think we alluded to it last week, they've actually got a really good library of games that kind of covers all bases almost. Yeah. You've got your shooter, you've got your racing game, you've got your indie game, you've got your story, you've got your arcade.
There's gaps for me in the app, especially when we're talking RPGs, because I think the only RPG is Final Fantasy 15.
Yep.
I can't think of another game
Quest,
that was
Quest in a way is.
Yeah, I'll give you Quest, and
I know it's not a big RPG title, but it still fits that category.
It's actually a really fun game, Quest.
Yeah. But... yeah. I mean, I made a Captain Obvious move last week. I said on last week's podcast that what did Stadia need to boost the ecosystem, and I stupidly said more people. Well, now we've got more people.
Yeah.
Now we've got it, and I have been called out on that, which is why I wanted to mention it. So we have more people finally. Like you said before, Chris, Destiny 2, I've just started getting back into that because I've since the announcement of base, or not base, we'll talk about that in a moment, of the 2 months free for Pro for everybody, I have seen 10 of my friends join in the system, which actually lines up very nicely to the maths that's been done behind the scenes. If every single person who's currently in the Stadia ecosystem gets 10 of their friends to join in, we see a massive growth in the player base right here. Now, Destiny, as you said before, it's increased from about, back in March, I think it was recorded around about like 3,500 active players on there, which is quite a decline from the original release. But as of yesterday, 38,000. And I can confirm that there is a massive uptake in the number of players who are currently playing Destiny 2 again. You look at the grid lobbies. The grid lobbies are now full. There's tons and tons of different racing lobbies. You just go into any of the online games now, the multiplayer games, and there are a lot more people there. Granted, it's mostly the free games. If you look at games like, I think, Ghost Recon Breakpoint and Mortal Kombat, they're still struggling a little bit. But I think that as people start to stick with the system and get more familiar with it and how the model works, that then we'll actually start to see an uptick in the number of people who are actually participating there.
Yeah, I'd imagine most people who are taking this 2 months on are people who've been interested in the platform for 2 months free. This is the time to jump in and give it a go. They probably had a lot of bad press about it and are motivated to find out for themselves. But obviously didn't want to drop the money before. Well, it's free. I can just jump in with the hardware I have, plug a PlayStation, an Xbox controller, whatever, into my laptop and give it a go. So they're probably just playing the games they have for free for now. But when they find it works, and then Destiny might be a brilliant example, because going back to what I mentioned earlier about load times, if you're playing Destiny on Stadia and see incredibly short load times, and you go back to PlayStation, and it's like, and you sat there half the time on your phone waiting for things to load, we're way more likely to continue playing.
Yeah, I think the just bringing the extra people in the door is huge, and you're completely right there, Tom. That kind of self-proliferation of like friends on friends on stacks on stacks on friends on friends that tends to happen. The reality is you get 1 or 2 people in the door talking about this, they test it out, they find it really works, which we've all done to our amazing delight over the last couple of weeks. It works. It's a proven thing, and that's why positive vibes that spread out from someone who you know, recommendations. The reason you all try out a new restaurant is 10 times more likely to happen because your friend recommends the menu was great, the food was delicious, as opposed to a stranger. It's because you take those relationships with your friends, your family, your peers, your colleagues. You take it more seriously because you know them better, you know their interests, their hobbies, their likes. And if someone came to me and recommended something, I'm a million times more likely to listen to them than something I've seen online. Yeah. And we've seen it in our Patreon supporters. So if we look at Ashley and Luke over on there, both of them have just bought a Premier Edition each, which just proves that they trialed it. I think I'm right in thinking we both got them in the door with a buddy pass. Maybe I know Luke was a buddy pass. Ashley maybe not so much. Can't remember.
I think she must have been.
Either way, they've now committed to Premier Editions, which, by the way, I'll point out, both of them were amazingly impressed with the delivery. I got two photographs of their delivery as soon as it arrived, just to show how the order was confirmed, and then the next day it arrived by like early afternoon.
Yeah.
Boom, there's my Premier Edition, and it just makes me jealous that I really want that white controller now. I've only got, even though the Founders one's beautiful. Yeah. Yes, Tom, where can I grab that? Where's the screen?
Here you go, Chris. Oh, no, wrong way. Here we go.
If only. Oh wait, if you try that again, Tom.
I must admit, I have looked on Amazon and eBay and stuff for like a used like Premier Edition, because I want a second Chromecast and I want a second controller. So buying a full-on Premier Edition seems to be the cheapest way to do it.
I do think, like, I love my Midnight Blue controller, but this is beautiful. Like, this is really, really nice, this controller.
It grew on me. I like it a lot more than the Midnight one now.
Yeah, I really like this controller. The only thing I don't like about white controllers is I worry about discoloration over time. Like, I know that was an issue with the 360 controllers. The white eventually turns to disgusting yellow.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the old NES consoles and PlayStation consoles, like my old PS1's looking awfully dodgy on the top right now with a different shade.
The grey suddenly turns to like a greeny, like
it's yellowish. The buttons are like a slightly different plastic than the rest of the console.
You'd get it with like old Game Boy and N64 cartridges as well.
Whereas
smokers' households.
Yeah, so with Stadia obviously all being in the cloud, there is no hardware other than the controller and the Chromecast, which is always just going to hide behind the back of the TV and not see the light of day anywhere. It's just going to get warm, maybe cook itself. It's one of the things that I think this is a prime example of getting people in the door, and it really, really works through recommendation.
This is
one of the one shame I think is missing. It's missing a few of the big titles, your Call of Duties, your Battlefields, your FIFAs and stuff. So when people are jumping in and look at the library, a lot of these people who they buy that game every single year and nothing else. They're looking at the library and it's not there for them. So I can imagine a lot of these people are going to lapse.
Yeah, it's a bit sort of like underwhelming when you look at the library and you just go, Yeah, I don't really see
It's
any
them
point in
few.
buying
There's a few
anything.
big gaps. If they're plugged, they'll be in much better footing.
Yeah, I think there's been some conversation in the community that's sort of had me thinking about this, and we've obviously got to think 2 months down the line from now, how are they going to try to keep and retain some of these new people who've joined the model? And we're probably going to look at probably, I would expect, one of the AAA titles to go free. The discussion around things is possibly the Division 2, which I think would be perfect. I think that would be a great shout in the next couple of months to get people to stay.
Yeah, my opinion is that the Division 2 would be great. They also run the risk of annoying people who've bought it previously, as happens with every
It's always
game.
going to happen.
Well, no, I think it's just more pertinent while the library is so small. I said yesterday my interpretation would be Rainbow Six Siege would be a massive one to get in. It's another one of Ubisoft's big hitters. We know it's in the pipeline. It gets constant support across all platforms anyway, with like year 5 or year 4, whatever they're up to now. I think for, like you're rightly saying, Tom, at the end of that 2-month period, they need a big hitter to come out swinging and say, look, if you've enjoyed Stadia for the last 2 months for free, he's a reason to hang around. And if you drop something like Siege, which is so well supported and has such a thriving community, get that out there. All it needs is, even if it just grabs, 5-10% of these free trialist people, it's more people than we're going to be there to begin with. And that just continues to grow over time because, as we've seen with our own libraries, the more games that stack up, the more reason you've got to hang around, because you don't want to throw it all in the bin after you've got the best.
I'm completely with you there with Siege. Siege for me makes a perfect pro game because you have to think about from the business side. It does have a season pass, and as you mentioned, it's like 4, 5, 6 seasons in. If they drop maybe the game plus 1 or 2 seasons for free as a pro game, and then and by the way, there's this extra content if you want it.
Yeah.
There is creating that revenue stream.
There is talk as well that Siege might be moving to a free-to-play model as well.
Yeah, I've heard that several times.
It would tie in very nicely if that comes in the next few months. That would be almost like a perfect drop right there.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to imagine Siege has made its money back tenfold now for it to
God,
yeah, easily.
Like the fact that now, and they clearly keep supporting it because it's financially viable. I know there's a lot of skins and packs and weapons and stuff you can buy. So a type of game that's outlived its development cost, it's all printing money at the moment. So you want to get it out there.
There's a huge esports community surrounding it as well, and it's a way of finally getting esports into Stadia as well.
And we've seen with esports as well. Sometimes these games transcend the platform. I think Smash Brothers Melee is still a major esport.
Yeah.
Despite the fact it's 4 versions old now.
Yeah.
Because you've got Brawl, you've got Wii U, and now you've got Ultimate since, and it's still a big one. So these esports can last forever.
Yeah, and that's the goal, to just print money by a continued thing. If you've got a game there, why not just keep it? I mean, look at World of Warcraft. How long's that been going for now? I know it's not competitive, but in terms of just that player base,
well, it does have PvP. It is a competitive element to it.
But it's crazy. But back to the story about Stadia roll now. I saw the likes of all the big news articles obviously picked up on it, which is huge. You're going to get that marketing out there, that free press. No, there's no good news, bad news kind of thing. I myself and the Sounds of Stadia Twitter account jumped into the IGN thread and just thought we'd... obviously, the water is very tested with people who don't like Stadia right now. But I thought, you know what, we'll go there with a neutral thing. I went with a Rob Snyder, you can do it gif. And just said, if you love gaming, why not give it a go? ? If it's not for you, then we guess nothing changes. Win-win. Yeah. And
there's literally no reason not to try it. It's free.
Literally not reason.
You already have a Google account. Just go.
Yeah, just give it a go. If you got a Gmail, even if not, you can make a Gmail account in 2 minutes. You can make a Gmail account in the same amount of time it takes you to boot up Doom on Stadia. And in all that time, you would still be waiting for a download on Xbox, PlayStation, and not on Switch because it's not there yet. Yeah.
And you know what? You can even use your old Xbox 360 controller via Google Chrome browser.
I think that's one thing that's really taken people a bit by storm by this, because there's the expectation versus reality, but then there's the actual being told the benefits of it and then experiencing the benefits. I think it's one of these things that until you've actually tried it, you don't know how good you've had it. I know that's been thrown around a little bit recently, but case in point, some of my friends who got into Destiny 2 yesterday, they've all had really good experiences in terms of no input lag or very minimal input lag. Great visuals, even though I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, gents, but there may have been a drop in the visual quality of Stadia at the moment across the board.
Yes.
The default settings have changed, but you can change them back up. But the default settings have dropped down to 1080p, which I would argue is still the standard in gaming at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you want to go up to 4K, just open your Stadia app and you can do it.
And one thing I think we've seen. Sorry, Chris.
I was going to say, just to clarify, the Phil Harrison thing came out and said, we've adjusted bandwidth because of the high demand on the internet right now. We've reduced the load of the internet future. We're working toward a temporary feature that changed the default to 1080p from 4K. But obviously, you're right in saying, Richie, you can up it back up if you choose to.
Yeah. I think case in point with this as well is that the community has come together really really tightly, actually, amongst all the people, all the new people, I should say, getting into the system too, where we've seen a lot of guides that have gone out there to help people get into Stadia and how to set it up effectively to obviously optimize the best performances possible. One of my friends was having issues with their laptop yesterday. It was a local network issue, but it was very quickly resolved. Turns out that if he went wired, which I know some people would prefer not to, but now he's got a wired connection. He had a lot of issues with disconnections and latency when he first got into it. But as soon as he went wired, it completely went away. And often that's usually down to your home infrastructure and the way that your network is set up at home.
Well,
so a lot of people are getting put off by going into it and having issues. It's going to be different for everyone. So
I have a bit of personal experience in that, because when we first started this, I actually had terrible internet and a terrible router as well. So in my office where I'm sat now, I had terrible signal. I couldn't play Stadia in here because the signal was unstable. The speed was okay, but it was that stability of it. My solution was, I think I've spent about £30 on a range extender, which just plugs into my power socket over there somewhere. And now I've got an Ethernet cable from my tower into that, and it resolved the issue. Yeah. Part of the problem is my wireless card is 10 years old, and it's rubbish. It was that simple. It's like, that's why the signal was unstable. So you can get things. So I'm basically using the range extender as effectively a wireless card.
There's just a lot of hidden elements in this that people typically without the tech know-how don't really think about.
Yeah.
Like the equipment that you're using. If you think about you've got a home internet where you've got a wireless router, and you're trying to extend it using an extending device like a bridge or like a range extender. I mean, Richie, you've got it right by using it with a wired connection to the range extender. But for some people who are just using wireless connected to wireless, you've got to think about the latency hops between each of those as well. You're sending a signal that's going to a device. That device then has to communicate to another device, to a further device, and then it's got to go across the internet and vice versa. So it's sometimes about your own internal optimization. But there's a lot of guides out there that really try to help people at the moment in sort of making sure that you've got the best setup you possibly can. And what I'd like to extend to a lot of people who might be new watching the podcast is, if you are struggling with Stadia at the moment in terms of the performance, or you're not quite feeling like you're getting the best out of the system, give it a shot with wired. Just give it a shot and just see if that makes a difference. It's not ideal, I get that, but it might have a massive impact. And if it does, then that might be down to your own infrastructure rather than the service itself.
Yeah. The one thing I would say as well is I could use my Chromecast in my office fine, even when I had terrible internet connection. It was literally my wireless card in my tower. That was the problem. So it could be as simple as one component isn't good enough.
Yeah, and if there's anyone out there who's just joining in, that want to troubleshoot a few of these things, our friend Duncan at Want2Escape pulled together the unofficial beginner's guide almost to Stadia, which he dropped into the Stadia Discord channels. And if you go check out his Twitter account, I'm sure it's posted on there a good couple of times over the last couple of days. And he's basically got a good breakdown of every step from sign up to issues to everything. So go read that, check that out if you are new. If not, if you want to be a traditional bloke and just wing it until you fix it, just pull wires out.
Hit it with a hammer.
And back on, hit it with a hammer, go at it with a screwdriver. It'll fix itself eventually. But what has me again, the great benefit of Stadia is as the internet infrastructure of the globe improves, as 4G, 5G, LTE doesn't create viruses, which is a lie, which everyone's talking about as well. Yeah, we won't go down that rabbit hole. once this infrastructure improves, it's only going to get better. And let's be honest, the internet isn't going to get slower over time. If you look back in another year's time or 2-3 years, when Stadia has its exclusive studios pumping out games left, right, and center, the libraries, 10,000 games plus, all that kind of stuff, everything's going to run a lot smoother than it is going to now. So I think it's a great opportunity for Stadia people to get in the door, try it out, give it a go for 2 months, and you know what? You might still be hanging around with the rest of us come what may.
I'm going to throw a quick caveat in there as well, because you mentioned LTE. Stadia is not currently supported over LTE at the moment, which is something that we know that they are actively looking into to try to resolve. But if you are hoping to use it over LTE, then just brace for impact, really.
Yeah, it works fine. The way I've got around that in hotels is I've got a 4G tablet. I have my phone. I turn the hotspot on my tablet, link my phone to it because it thinks it's Wi-Fi, and it works. And it works perfectly fine up and down the cities of the UK. So I've played with you guys, Spitlings and stuff. And Tomb Raider, I think I played Metro for a little bit in a hotel. Works fine, technically through LTE, 5G, 4G, whatever it may be.
Coming soon, though.
Trademark coming soon, yeah, definitely. What I did want to bring a point of attention to within this story as well, I wanted to check out the IGN news stories and stuff. They did a poll within their article for the launch of Base, and it was, will you be trying out Google Stadia for free? Now, the results of the poll are nearly 12,000 votes. Would you like to hazard a guess, gentlemen?
I think
so. We've got, with the options are yes, no, I'm already a pro subscriber. So out of 12,000 people, what percentage do you think are already pro subscribers?
I'm going to guess it's quite higher than we'd expect because they're the people more likely to be clicking on the article almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to put a number on it because
that's what I'm asking. So
got to do it now.
Percentage, right? I'm going to go. I'm going to go with 20% are already pro subscribers.
Okay. Tom, higher or lower?
Lower, 12%.
Lower. The answer is, in fact, 3.9% are already Stadia Pro subscribers. The other two options, yes and no. Which way do you think the scales tip? Will you be trying out Google Stadia for free?
This is on IGN.
IGN, yeah. Imagine Games Network.
It's probably
it could go either way.
80% no.
It could go either way. With it's the fact that it's free that people might go, well, it's free. I'm like, I'm still going to tip the scales to no, but I'm going to go about 60-40.
The people who are more vocal about not wanting to try it and shitting on the service are usually more vocal, I would say.
Yeah, but if it's a poll, it's just a click.
Yeah. So have faith, gentlemen. You're right in both thinking that the no side of the spectrum is slightly weighted. However, it's 59.6% no to 36.5% yes.
I just called 60-40.
You did. Bear in mind, you couldn't have 60-40 because 4% was I'm already a Stadia Pro.
Yeah, I was
mathematics. Yeah. Simple maths.
But yeah, so you know what? I'll take that.
An IGN poll. Okay.
There's a quick poll of 12,000 people, which is more people than were playing Destiny a few months back. So I'll take that.
The thing is, as more people play it and more stories that it actually works gets out there, that'll probably shift as well.
Yeah.
Because you have to imagine there's probably a lot of people who've heard a lot of negative stuff, tried it for themselves, go, this works, I'm going to let people know that it works. Because people do actually do that. So
brilliant news, brilliant story all around. Fantastic move from Google, getting out there. And again, whether it comes from a pure charitable point of view or it's from business, you know what? As gamers, fill your boots. It's free. Get out there, test it out. If you don't like it, move on. Move on with your lives. Go back to your 80 gig downloads. We will see you in the future, ladies and gentlemen. Join us in the sun. But before we move on to the next story, I just want to quickly get, for those who are new to the server and the system, what would you say your two recommendations are out of the free games? What would you personally put your...
Out of the free games?
Try this out, yeah. Out of the free games all of our new listeners potentially are getting, what would you recommend?
I can't remember which games are free.
I'm going to go with Dig 2.
Mm-hmm.
And because I honestly found myself really immersed in the story with that, and it just felt like the kind of game that you can get into. It's really easy to pick up, and then you just find yourself spending countless hours progressing with it before you realize how much time has actually passed. There's loads of progression systems in there, but it's just really user friendly, and it's a relatively short game if you're not trying to 100% it. And secondly, See, I'd like to say one of the big players. Like, I think a lot of people are going to get into this to basically claim all of the Destiny 2 expansions, and I think that's where a lot of people are probably going to go. But I'm going to say, having completed it and gotten all the achievements, I'm going to say Guild. Not
I
Spilling.
thought you were going to go somewhere different.
I'm going to go Guild. And the reason I'm going to go Guild is A, it's an exclusive. B, it is beautiful storytelling. And it is a short game. You can bash that out if you really, really try. 6-7 hours, perhaps. It's a short game. You could get it done in a day. And under isolation at the moment, you might as well. You might as well just put half a day aside, and you can easily do that.
Easily. Richie?
I'm just looking. I've noticed on the Stadia store, because I couldn't remember which games were Pro, and all the games that have been Pro are no longer listed under the Stadia Pro games title. So there's things like Metro is missing. Like,
there was some ones that they've extended. I think
it's not all of them.
Yeah. So I'm going to pick out the ones that you can claim now, not anything previous. I'm going to put Spitlings up there because one of us needs to.
Okay.
And it's genuinely a great game.
Yeah.
That was going to be my choice, with Spitlings.
Yeah.
Especially if you're at home and if you've got any family, you've got any children and stuff, it's a fantastic couch co-op game.
That's actually a really good shout. I think at the moment, with everyone being at home and on lockdown, this is the kind of service that if you've got kids you need to entertain, then do it. Like this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Really, there's so many games that you could play with your kids there.
And for my second choice, I'm going to go with something that isn't actually a game that I'm overly fond of myself, because it's just not my sort of game. And I'm going to go with Grid. Okay. Because that game is actually beautiful. It plays really well if you get good at it. I'm not. But it's also got a unique feature compared to the PlayStation Xbox versions with the 40-car races. So it makes it's really good for like big community events.
And yourself, Chris?
Yeah.
Spitlings was my choice.
That's already been picked.
But both of you two opted to give me two choices, even though I'm pretty sure I just said, "Can I have what's your favourite you'd recommend?"
No.
So, what you've left me with, I guess, you've got to try out Destiny. Just jump in there and test it out, because graphically it looks gorgeous. It is a living, thriving world, and you know what? If you get into it, I know many of my friends have ploughed hours and hours of their lives, if not months, weeks, Gary, into that particular game. And yeah, you know what? If it's free, the collection, jump in with all the DLC.
I had good fun with Destiny for a week when I first got Stadia, but it wasn't for me, but it's a good game.
Like I say,
It's an amazing game.
Now I've got a lot of friends who are picking it up again. I'm probably going to spend more time playing it. Holly's just gotten into it as well, so I'm actually playing through some of the stuff with her. So she's just had her internet sorted, and she's not much of a shooter player, but she's enjoying it, and she thinks it's a really pretty game, so I'll give it another shot there. I'm going to take this opportunity real quick as well. I just want to set a personal challenge for everybody listening to the podcast right now. Personal challenge. Right. We talked about it earlier about getting friends into the ecosystem. I want you to find 3 people. Every single person, 3 people. Find 3 people who currently do not play Stadia and get them to try it out. They don't have to stick with it, but just get them to try it. 3 people.
But they do have to subscribe to Sounds of Stadia.
If every single person listening to the podcast finds 3 people who can try Stadia out, which they can do for free, then we could see a huge uptick in the community. And that's what we want here. We want the community to thrive and grow.
Thrive and grow. Join us in the sun. Fantastic. Brings us on to our second news story then of the week. We couldn't go without mentioning this news story. If anything, it was potentially bigger than the Stadia Pro news. Tom has dyed his hair, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are listening on the audio podcast, head over to youtube.com/Sounds of Stadia and check out this man and his silver locks.
I just thought I was getting stressed out being at home all the time at the moment. It's taking its toll on me.
The stress was making him go grey, so in order to hide it, he dyed his hair.
Yeah.
Some of it's just embrace it.
The greys have come out now. The greys are here. You know, it's here to stay.
Would you define it as grey or silver?
It's relatively, to be honest with you, it's colourless at the moment. I haven't even dyed it yet. The plan is to go silver with it, but at the moment it's pretty like white grey.
Like Gandalf, you're stuck between grey and white. at the moment.
I don't know what Santa Claus.
What little laugh was that? Oh, children.
A proper belly laugh.
Sounds
as
of
Ian
Stadia.
McKellen is often known for his belly laughs.
Yeah, he's notorious for them.
Yeah.
But yes, thanks for that, Tom. We'll move on to the next Stadia pertinent news story, which was once again on Thursday. My fingers were crossed that Get Packed was coming. We had the pizza bet set in last episode. Thursday came around. Twitter, bing, Stadia news story. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Free pizza for Chris. And lo and behold, no, it was not. It was some free game announcements. So you know what? I can't be upset with that because some free game announcements on the way at least. So to keep us happy. So, gentlemen, we had 2 new game announcements.
Three new
Tom,
game announcements.
Three new game announcements.
3 new game announcements. Yep.
Which I know one of them you were excited for. Would you like to run us through the breakdown of the titles and a little bit of what they're about?
Absolutely. So the first game that was announced was Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, which is by Game Atelier. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Game Atelier. It is an adventure game. It's essentially a 2D platformer stroke adventure game. It's very JRPG style, but in terms of the artwork, it's very much like artwork-wise like Dragon Quest, really. But it's a fun little title. I think it'll be one that a lot of people might pick up for the right price, assuming it isn't too expensive. I'd probably say ballpark figure £12, maybe something like that. But it'll be a fully fledged adventure game, full complete with weapon upgrade system, skills that you can use, like different monster forms you can transform into, things like that. It'll be fun. But if you like anime style games, Japanese art, and so on, that'll be something that I definitely think you might be interested in.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to the trailer for this game, though. It's impossible to watch it without having a smile on because it's got like an almost like an Saturday morning cartoon theme song going over it. I watched the trailer earlier and went, I want to buy this game just for that intro.
Saturday morning is a perfect way to describe it. It's got a pig with an eye patch, ladies and gentlemen. What more could you want out of a game? But yeah, it gives me like Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion vibes with some of the gameplay, the fight styles, and the puzzle platforming that you're doing. But in like you said, Richie, a really rich, colourful, vibrant world. And it does, and you're right, Tom. At the right price, the name might not get you in, but the price definitely could.
It's stated that it's going to have over 15 hours of like epic adventure gameplay as well. So I think 15 hours. I think the £12 marker is probably around about where I'd expect that to be priced. Anything closer to 20, and I'd probably be less inclined. 12 to 15, I'd probably put it in actually. Second game that's coming out is Republique, which is a stealth adventure game, or stealth action game, I should say. I'll just read straight from the blog right here. So it's been developed over 5 years by industry veterans over at Camouflage, who are currently working on Marvel's Iron Man VR.
Delayed.
Another game coming soon. Republique is a thrilling and topical stealth action game that explores the perils of the corporate republic. You receive a call from Hope, a woman trapped inside a dangerous futuristic world. By hacking into the nation's elaborative surveillance network and taking control, you guide Hope through a web of deception across 5 thrilling episodes. So an episodic game.
Ooh. Was it episodic upon original release? Or is it just chaptered, do you think, within the game?
Probably chaptered, I'd expect, rather than episodic like Life is Strange and things like that. So that could be an interesting one. Stealth action.
Yeah. I got some Hitman vibes from the trailer I found on YouTube. Looks quite good. Looks interesting. We did point. I think you pointed out pre-show, Tom, that this game's actually coming to Android.
It is. Yeah, coming
Play
to
Store
Android
as well.
It may already be there. We'll have a quick look. Should fact check before the show.
Okay. I've just checked. It was released as individual episodes.
Okay. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, release date back in 2013 as well, so it is an older title, so it's been out for quite some time. I do believe it has been free on some platforms as well, so it'll be interesting to see whether this slots in as one of the pro games, possibly.
It's entirely possible it's done the classic thing of an episodic game where the first episode is out for free to get you in, and then you pay for the others.
That's not a bad shout, actually. We've seen that happen before.
It's smart.
Yeah.
I actually think, gentlemen, it's currently free on the Android Play Store.
There we have it.
There's no purchase, it's just installed. 3.6 gig will get you some Republic action and give you some live screenshots.
Fantastic. Look at that.
There you go. Look at that.
What do you like?
And joining us live, Scary Ghost Lady.
To audio listeners, Chris is showing the screenshot up to the camera.
And the final game, the third game that was announced last week, is West of Loathing, which is a slapstick comedy adventure role-playing game. It's ticking a lot of boxes right there. Set in the Wild West of the Kingdom of Loathing. Traverse snake-infested gulches, punch skeletons wearing cowboy hats, grapple with demon cows, and investigate a wide variety of disgusting spittoons.
In glorious black and white.
In glorious black and white stick drawings. Yeah. We've seen a lot of comments about this out in the community of people saying they could play this on the toaster. It is meant to be a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It is meant to be a little bit of like one of those old webcomic style.
When I was reading them comments earlier, I was just reading, I was like, you just don't get the game. Like, it's again a clear... The fact that its trailer describes itself in glorious black and white shows you how it doesn't take itself seriously in the slightest.
Absolutely.
I've actually got a screenshot of that game as well.
So again, audio listeners, Chris has drew a crude stick man with a cowboy hat.
It's not a crude stick man. It looks perfect representation of the game.
But the graphics are crude in the game. So, I don't know why I'm gesturing with my screen when I've got the trailer on.
I'm just going to go through some of these features because I think some of the features of this game are actually like really, really sort of like why you should get this when it comes out. We have a crunchy turn-based combat. Yes, it is described as crunchy, but only if you want it. There is a liberal use of the Oxford comma in the game. There are over 50 hats, disreputable saloons, several gulches, and, most importantly, a drunken horse. So, why not?
If the other game's got a pig with an eye patch, you've got to step it up, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So those are our three games. We've got West of Loathing, Republic, and we've got Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. Coming soon. Trademark.
Coming soon. Now, West of Loathing, all jokes aside, I've heard great things about this game. If you're into just dry comedic, like I don't want to say low budget, but it's that similar kind of like approach that kind of South Park took originally, where I remember seeing South Park first time thinking, why is it still 2D cutout people moving? And look how huge South Park is, because it's all about the comedy. That's it. It doesn't need to be graphically amazing to make you laugh, and this is definitely what that's going for.
I think the very minimalist art style makes it stand out, actually. If they went for a bit more of a colourful art style, it probably wouldn't. It'd probably get lost. The fact that it's black and white and stick drawings makes you... What is this? I generally would be more likely to click on it because a new game is a black and white stick drawing. What's that about?
Yeah.
Out of curiosity.
You are completely right. It does make it stand out. And I remember the name. I remember as soon as it popped up, I remember seeing it way back when it was announced somewhere else. Yeah. Because you're right, Richie, the art style is so backwardsly distinct. It works. It works for them.
It's not even backwardsly distinct. I don't think any game... at any point would be seriously drawn in a Stickman style.
I remember me of those Flash stick games we used to play in school.
I think that's exactly what it's going for. It's just sort of playing on that sort of like silly fun time, just
made this in Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, whatever the hell happens. Let's just go for it.
Yeah. And if you're watching developers of the game, if you need any additional artists on it, I'm free to help out with some additional DLC.
Yeah, same. I'm not an artist at all, but I'm sure I can handle this.
But yes, so 3 new games. We don't know when. Coming soon. # trademark. But what we do know is we've got some prices that have came out. They end on the 29th of April. We got some pro deals. So just to tantalize people coming in the door even more with their free 2 months. Why not tease them a little bit more with some discounts on some other positively received games? We have Kine coming in at... Did we confirm if it was Kine?
It's Kine. It is Kine.
kind. Coming in at £10 down from 20, so you got a 50% half price reduction there. We've got the big Western release, which ties perfectly into West of Loathing. Slightly different ends of the graphical.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah.
If Western Stickman isn't for you, why not check out Red Dead Redemption 2? Join Arthur Morgan as he ventures through the Wild West and shoots up loads of people in glorious AAA quality.
The pricing on this one's actually quite interesting because you're looking at the price drops, you can clearly tell they're pushing you to the more like the Ultimate Edition, because there's only £4 difference at the moment between the standard and the Ultimate, instead of usually like 25.
Yeah, so there's price drops across all different variants, but you're completely right there, Richie. The Red Dead Redemption 2 Ultimate Edition is down from £79.99 English pounds down to £47.99. So quite a nice sizable chunk there. Yeah. Still, with the Ultimate Edition, I'm for one who doesn't think you really get much more in it than you would the base edition in terms of Red Dead Redemption. But you know what?
It's probably worth the £4, probably not worth the 25.
Agreed. And final game is the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Is down to a tasty £8, the cheapest game on all the Pro Deals right now. If you are a new free member and you've not checked out Tomb Raider right now, if the £8 isn't for you, tell you where you could check it out. youtube.com/Sounds of Stadia, whereas next Saturday, the final episode, the finale of our Tomb Raider playthrough has gone live. So join me, Tom and Richie as we adventure through with Lara. So you know what? Save yourself the £8 if you really want to. It's free to go with our glorious faces. Just, if anything, send us the £8. Patreon.com/Sounds of Stadia.
Yeah, you can watch Tom waste all of that ammo killing crabs and seagulls.
Yeah, so, and you know what? We don't even need the full 8. Just 78p is the entry-level tier. Keep the £7 odd left for yourself. Go treat yourself. Get some hand sanitizer
really
in.
Things coming to our Patreon soon as well, so definitely now is the time to get on board with that as well.
Get on
Shameless
board
self
with it.
plug right there.
help us up our graphic fidelity from stick figures to AAA quality for you.
And if you do, I might even change the color of this light in the background.
I thought you were going to say your hair then. You've just done that. Yeah,
a Patreon sub for people to decide what color to dye my hair.
Yeah, £1 million and Tom will dye his hair whatever color you choose.
For £1 million, yes, absolutely.
And another story then this week, which was picked up by 9to5google.com, was that in another APK file, it looks like Stadia may be readying for an Android TV rollout, which we've anticipated for some time. But essentially, they've done some digging around in that super secret codex file again and found out that, it's been prepped. They've actually been able to boot it up and get it installed on some TVs, and the Stadia logo is included in that. So it actually shows up. It doesn't work, but the logo comes through as all official and it features it. So for me personally, someone who has a 4K Android TV downstairs, and we've alluded to before, many Chromecast sticks, this kind of thing excites me for that I may be able to play it on other devices kicking around the home without the need of buying something else. And Richie, we chatted about it yesterday on StadiaTalk, but Tom, bring your info to the table. This removes the barrier for entry. This is potentially huge for while it's free for 2 months. They can roll out this during the free subscription. You know what? You don't even need a Chromecast stick. You got that TV in your living room? Jump on it. There's the Stadia icon to download from the App Store. Go. What are your thoughts?
The one thing I would like to think about is if they launch the app on the TV, how do you connect to it in terms of a controller?
Well, I've just had a thought about that. They could potentially use your phone as a conduit to connect. If you wire any other controller into your phone, then use your phone as a conduit to connect.
That is exactly
it's a
what
workaround.
I was thinking. The other thing I would like to point out with this APK, these APKs actually are really worth discussing sometimes because it sort of gives us a glimpse into the path that Google want to take with Stadia and also sort of like what we can expect to see next. Another thing that we haven't discussed recently about it is they are talking about Android touch controls for phones as well, for the app in the APK as well. So you could see actually not the need for taking a controller or having a claw to play the games on your phone. You could literally just boot it up and have the controls on your screen ready to touch and go from there. And as you said, Richie, I think that would be pretty good if you could use it as a remote device to actually play or use as a controller with it on the TV. That should be very doable with smart TVs.
Yeah, it obviously touch controls and great in my opinion, but it really depends on the game. The less action oriented, the more slower paced turn based stuff could work quite fine. SteamWorld Quest could probably work quite fine using touch screen controls.
I think you have to bring it back to the audience that Google are looking for here. They're talking about, the billions of people they want to access on the planet. They're talking about the wider audience, making Stadia accessible to everyone. And if they're going to do that, they're going to be pushing out a lot of these features to try to get it on as many different devices as possible.
I wouldn't be surprised if long term the Google Play Store was like kind of segmented where all the games are kind of taken off that and put into the Stadia app.
Yeah, quite possibly.
So the Stadia app becomes the default way to get games on your phone.
I could see that happening. Now, there is a joke in the gaming community about Skyrim being on every single device known to man, but with Stadia and Skyrim together, that could genuinely become a possibility.
Well, you can play Skyrim on the Google Home, can't you?
You can.
So get on Stadia.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
The potential is there.
It probably is a matter of time. It takes about 6 months to get games ported over. It could be in works right now.
Could be.
Could be in the works.
Yeah.
But while we wait for that, gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our new segment. And we're not done yet, because with it being Easter, we wanted to do something a little bit special for our listeners out there in the wider gaming community as well. And we wanted to just chat a little bit about our video game Easter eggs. In the spirit of the holiday that is Easter weekend, we thought we'd dive into some of the top-rated video game Easter eggs of all time. So to give you an insight into it, according to Wikipedia, an Easter egg is an intentional inside joke, hidden message, or feature in a work such as a computer program, video game, movie, or book. The term was coined at Atari by a person who alerted to the presence of a secret message, which was hidden in the game design by one Mr. Warren Robinett in his already widely distributed game Adventure, because back then the video creators weren't necessarily credited for their work because it used up storage space on the cartridges. So unfortunately they got cut amongst other reasons.
So didn't he worked in like a hidden room or something in with his like initials so he would get that accreditation in there?
For anybody who's read the book Ready Player One, you'll very much know about this as well. This is a big part of that story.
Yeah, so we've plucked a few of them out. We've got these rankings from ranker.com, so don't at us about the rankings or anything. They're not our personal choices. I had a few personal ones that I wanted to bring to the table, but I thought we'll go through and highlight a couple. So you guys have got the doc, haven't you? So you can see what exactly we're looking at. So we'll work from 25 upwards to number one. At a nice brisk pace to wrap this up for everybody, because we know they all want to get out to their summer barbecues in the garden. But yes, so coming in at number 25, we've got Dead Space spells Nicola's fate already, which I didn't know about this one. Potential spoilers for old games, by the way. If anyone's not played these games and you've missed the Easter egg, I don't think any of the spoilers really pertain to a story-based thing, but just be warned.
Easter eggs tend not to.
I mean, this one pretty much does.
Yeah.
Straight away. So in that number 25, the Nicola's fate being sealed, I'll pull it up. For anyone who's watching at home as well, I do intend to add these into the bottom. Waiting for it to load. Can't find it. Just bear with me. It's essentially, where is it? To your side, Richie.
I'm on the bottom left, so it's bottom right.
No, that's other direction, Richie. Other direction. Oh, that's it. The camera's flipped. It's over there.
Yeah.
So Chris, it's
so
below
I'll drop
you.
that in.
It's below you, down to my lower. It's really difficult to do. There we go.
It is.
Yeah, it is. So Dead Space spells Nicola's fate. So the secret involves apparently every chapter of Dead Space 1 through 12 is the names of the chapters. The first letter actually spells out Nicola is dead.
Ooh.
In the actual first letters, and that apparently is the ultimate outline of the story.
Nicole, not Nicola.
It's not Nicole. Sorry, I'm trying to kill my wife in this scenario. Evidently, sorry for that. Run. Coming in at number 24, we've got the sarcastic announcer. I've just realised, actually, because Ranker, you can vote and down and upvote these things.
Yeah.
They may have changed from the other day when I made the list. So forgive me if in my pauses, because I'm looking at the list and thinking, that isn't in the same place it was the other day when I pulled the doc together. So we'll just go through them. A sarcastic announcer mocks you and wave racer Blue Storm, whatever the hell that means. So surprisingly, the one might have stayed buried for quite a while. While pressing a specific sequence of buttons in the audio options menu, you can change the generally cheerful announcer into a sarcastic douchebag who mocks your every move. I quite like that.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. For you guys, Resident Evil 2, we've got a photo of Rebecca Chambers in Albert Wesker's desk. Oh, so some Easter eggs are a lesson. Take, for instance, the hidden roll of film in Resident Evil 2. In the desk, you'll check it 50 times to find it, but apparently in the develop room, there is a photo to reveal Rebecca Chambers with the word recruit. So, that mean anything to you guys?
Yeah,
nope.
If it's into Resident Evil lore, but
it's part of that, yeah. So, number 21 was my personal one, which I knew about, which was in the game Uncharted 3. There is a newspaper which references the fungus infection for the outbreak, which then goes on to become The Last of Us, which I think is a lovely little Easter egg that's wrapped up in chocolate in that game.
Yeah, bear in mind, Last of Us came after Uncharted 3. Mm-hmm. So it just shows the developers were thinking ahead. Yeah.
It's very Pixar-esque of them to hide those little secrets in there. In at number 20, we've got the hidden name initials in credits from Adventure. So you're totally right there, Richie. It's the creator hid his name there in almost like kind of scripted text, but you have to be in a certain room at a certain time to see that. Hidden boss fight in Mario RPG. Anyone played Mario RPG?
Long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
I really laughed this one after just recently getting the platinum trophy for Assassin's Creed 3. In the Davenport homestead as Connor, our Native American assassin. If you go to the grave sites, apparently there's a turkey just walking around, Thanksgiving and all that. And if you punch in the Konami code, which we remember what that is, don't we?
Yeah.
If you then proceed to feed the turkey, it appears with a hood on its head, like a little assassin hood. So the turkey is officially an assassin in the law, and he walks around with a little.
You can almost imagine the developers on like a late night when rendering something just out getting a bit silly. I'm just going to add this, and I wonder how many like people knew about that before the game was published. At Ubisoft,
get it working in. I love it when it cross pollinates. Other ones you've got Majora's Mask in The Legend of Zelda, so you can actually buy it, I think, and equip it. So Majora sells.
You can't. It's the Happy Mask salesman has it on his bag.
Yes.
When you first meet him, you can see it.
There's Mario's face on there, very
just stripped off,
just hanging there.
That's quite scary. Level specific codex in Super Mario Smash Brothers Brawl. So apparently you get specific codex from Otacon referring to them. So a good one there was there appears to be a chimpanzee wearing a Nintendo hat to Snake. That conversation.
Is that an Easter egg, or is that just part of Smash Brothers, like tongue-in-cheek style?
Yeah.
Are you questioning the official rankings from Ranker.com, Richie?
I am. I'm not sure I would consider that an Easter egg, considering Snake is a character. So
you know what? We'll downvote it just for you, just to mess with somebody else's setup on there.
Sorry, whoever suggesting that was, you're wrong.
In at number 14, Tom, you alluded to this one earlier. Access to the secret cow level in Diablo 2.
Secret cow level. It's a big timey thing in Diablo. The secret cow level. It's embedded in Diablo lore now. But
anyone who's played Diablo knows about the secret cow level.
It looks scary. They're all standing on two legs.
I think it was Wirt's leg, and I can't remember what the other item was. But you have to put it into the cube to create.
Tome of Town Portal.
Yeah, that's right.
Horadric cube while standing in the rogue encampment.
That's right. Yeah. So Town Portal and the Scroll of Town Portal or Tome of Town Portal, the leg. Create it using the Horadric cube, and then you get into the cow level, and that shit is messed up.
It looks messed up.
It's fun. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. Yeah.
Speaking of messed up faces, number 13, you can unlock all of the James Bonds in GoldenEye 64.
Does that
which
include
I didn't
Daniel
know.
Craig,
I
then?
didn't know. No, it doesn't.
No, not that. Up to Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, up to Pierce Brosnan. But yeah, so apparently when they first conceived GoldenEye, you could unlock all different James Bond and even play as alternate Bonds in the game's bonus levels. It's not clear why the mode was cut, though there is most likely a legal status to do with cranky Sean Connery, it says. Luckily, the other Bonds weren't taken out of the game, just made inaccessible. In 2004, fans made an awesome mod that was allowed the Lost Bonds to be used.
I wonder if that includes George Lazenby.
He's in the account of the mod. Well, he's in the mod. This is it. So is it an Easter egg if it's a mod?
Well, no,
harking back to a rule.
If it's been modded, if it was in the original 64, then it's an Easter egg. If it's
I'm pretty sure I have an original cartridge that has them all unlocked.
Right. Okay.
I can't check it because my 64 is broken, but I have the cartridge.
Interesting. Who's your favourite James Bond out of interest for you guys?
Ooh.
Well, I'm only really familiar from Pierce Brosnan onwards. I've seen others, but never like in depth.
So Pierce Brosnan.
Now I'm probably going to go. Actually, it's hard because like Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan only each have 2 good films.
Yeah, but GoldenEye is a classic.
GoldenEye is but so is Casino Royale and Skyfall. I'm going to go with Pierce Brosnan.
If I were going to go for modern era action James Bond, I would probably
That's
go.
That's not what I asked, but okay.
All right, if we're playing by your
just your favorite,
Let's just go with Timothy Dalton. Why not?
Good old T Dalt.
Yeah, absolutely. The womanizing Bond.
I mean, they all are in a weird way. Daniel Craig just gets in the shower with someone in one of the recent Skyfall, I think it is. One of them, he just gets in with Monica Bellucci, just like totally just her husband's been killed. I'm just going to get in the shower with her.
If you could get in the shower with Monica Bellucci, you would.
Well. But is she unlockable in GoldenEye? Doubtful. In at number 12, we've got Jar Jar Binks frozen in carbonite on the Imperial Kashyyyk level of Star Wars The Force Unleashed.
Yeah, that is one I have experienced.
Just a nice nod and an ode to the hatred towards Jar Jar Binks. Me's are going to move on to number 11 now. We've got Bearded Man gives crucial clue.
That's it, we're done.
In Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, apparently if you watch the guys in the audience, there's a visual cue of a guy pops up with a beard, and that's when you're supposed to sock him one.
Well.
Yeah. So when you see him duck, you know what to do.
Quack.
Punch out. If you go into in at number 10, Grand Theft Auto 4, if you go to the Statue of Liberty or whatever it's called on Liberty City, there is an actual beating heart chained up inside the statue, which I do remember seeing and being freaked out by way back when. It's kind of scary to think like
Grand Theft Auto had some pretty weird Easter eggs in there.
Rockstar are fantastic for it, but in my mind, it was always just a fight scene from the end of X-Men. Inside platform with Wolverine tied to it. All the Ghostbusters are in there rigging it up for some kind of slime robot.
X2 or X1?
First one, wasn't it?
The first one, yeah.
I don't know. They're all terrible.
Getting my films mixed up.
They are not, Richard. They are not.
They really are.
They're not terrible. Do you not know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning?
Same thing as everything else.
Damn right it is. Halle Berry quote, Bond girl right there, dying of the day. Google that. Number 9, fire off a Hadouken like Ryu in Mega Man 10. Which I always just thought looks like a standard Mega Man weapon move. It doesn't look any different or special. You can fight Jason. How would you ever say this name? Is it Voorhees? Why has it got 2 O's then?
Why?
Just 1 O. Probably Scandinavian. Anyway. Friday the 13th movies in Dead Island, so you can fight Jason. He's one of the characters in there for you to kill, which is quite a nice little Easter egg. Number 7, I really did appreciate this one. Plays Indiana Jones in the Lego Star Wars Complete Saga. Nice little crossover there of Spielberg and Lucas working together.
The question is it an Easter egg though? Is it actually an Easter egg, or is he an unlockable character?
I mean, he's not in Star Wars, so
no.
Yeah, I'd say he's an Easter egg because he's not in Star Wars.
Yeah, if he was an unlockable character and it was just another Star Wars character, you'd be like, oh, they're in it because they're in that world. But I mean, technically, Harrison Ford is in that world already.
Yeah,
they already had the amazingly detailed Lego design of Harrison Ford, and thought, you know what, just stick a hat on him, give him a whip, and work's done.
Yeah,
finished. We can go home early. I really hope Lego Skywalker Saga comes to Stadia. Need a Lego game.
I
on
reckon
Stadia.
we will get the Lego games. I reckon we will.
They're ported everywhere else usually.
Yeah.
I think you can get them on iPhone and stuff as well. Actually, well, some of them you can anyway. I did like this one in at number 6, the contest winner, Chris Houlihan's Room in The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. He basically entered a competition back when the Nintendo Power magazine was out, and he got put in the game for winning the contest. And you go talk to him, and he literally says, "This is my top secret room. Keep it quiet."
that.
Like that.
I always felt that was
That's
a
cool.
really nice touch from Nintendo, that one.
Yeah, that is really, really cool. Something you wouldn't get nowadays.
Yeah.
I did laugh at this one as well. In at number 5, NBA Jam Tournament Edition, you can unlock a hidden roster of politicians, celebrities, and developers in the game. Just go to town.
Fantastic.
Bill
Going
Clinton
back to the
versus Al
contest
Gore.
winner one, Chris, there is actually examples of where fans have been usually a terminal ill fan has been written into a game that they've been really looking forward to. I think it might have been Borderlands 2 or Borderlands 3 where some kid was really into it. Unfortunately, died before the game came out, and they got a pre-beta build, but they eventually worked him into the game.
Yeah,
They've got.
that's always cool.
There was somebody who played World of Warcraft who was
Robin
added
Williams.
as an NPC. Yeah,
Robin Williams,
no,
the comedian.
there was a player of World of Warcraft as well who was added in. I forget what the name of the Tauren starting area is, but in that area, and there's also
Thunderbluff.
That's it. Yeah, around the Thunderbluff area. And also the Skyrim grandma, who's very famous on Twitch for streaming Skyrim. She's been added as an NPC as well.
Oh, that's always nice. That's the great thing with games is if with DLC and updates and patches and stuff, you can add extra content into things for things like this. Spider-Man did it really, really well with Stanley because it's a really, really touching moment with him in the Spider-Man PS4 game. And they added the kind of whole in memory of Stanley and stuff, and it did hit home a little bit. In at number 4, we have Psycho Mantis, knowing what you like to play in real life in the original Metal Gear Solid game.
Playing Legend of Zelda.
You've been playing Castlevania, Richie.
I don't know. Sorry.
Chris went for the proper PlayStation one. I went for the remaster for the Nintendo GameCube.
Yeah, again, I never owned Castlevania, but I said pre-show that's the one that always comes to my head. I feel like it was in like a meme or something when we were in school. There was like a little clip art animated GIF, and it was like you've been playing.
That sounds like it was like a Newgrounds Flash animation type thing.
Yes, I think that's where it's from. It's something like that.
I think it really is.
Was Castlevania? Did it come out with something just before like Metal Gear Solid or something like that? So it's probably in the zeitgeist at the time.
Konami, so just linking to one of their other games.
Yeah. That was a great Easter egg. The fact that he reads your memory card.
Yeah.
Seem to like Legend of Zelda, don't you? That'd be scary as shit if he did that now. Just reads your internet history. You've been watching
a premium.
You've been on Richie's escort site.
Oh,
times in the last week.
You know what? That would genuinely scare the shit out of some people, though, like it did back in the day.
Yeah.
In that number 3, we've got How to Fight in the Reptile Room, I guess.
No, it's How to Fight the Character Reptile.
Oh, it says in Reptile in the article. I was like,
basically, you had Sub-Zero was blue, you had Scorpion who was yellow, and Reptile was green.
Yes.
Slightly different movesets,
but that was the original Mortal Kombat game as well, that was.
That sounds like they've been taking notes from the Lego Indiana Jones Star Wars thing.
It's like
the skin.
It's a palette swap with a few different moves.
Here's a bit of a fact for you. Did you know that in the original Mortal Kombat games that they actually filmed people as actors dressed as the characters for the sprites in the games?
Yeah.
They took the video footage and converted it to sprites. They're not handmade, they're not drawn, they're not digitally created. It's actual footage of people that have been converted into 2D digital art.
It's
pretty cool. Yeah.
That's why the graphics stood out so much for that game.
Very
different. Look realistic because it literally is real people.
It is realistic, yeah. Well, it's like when games first started doing video introductions, like cinematography.
Oh, man.
I remember the Lord of the Rings games when it used to transition from the actual movie cutscene into the gameplay, and it had that very stark point where I'd be like, "Oh, this isn't the movie anymore." But
So
they used to use the video.
we don't get FMV anymore. The full motion videos that we used to get.
Not really.
You know why? Because it's worse than the actual graphics we have now.
Well, it was just those wonderful transitions of this filmed clip into blocky polygon animation.
But I think Final Fantasy VII is probably the most egregious of that. Where that game had about 4 different art styles.
Certainly do. In at number 2, we've got Activision doing something really, really good. In the Call of Duty Black Ops 2, you could play classic Atari hits such as Hero, Kaboom, Pitfall, and River Raid within a private match on the Nuketown 2025 map. So you could actually jump into a little game in the Nuketown area and play it. Which I think is little games within game Easter eggs are always great. I think I remember playing Snake on PlayStation 2.
Well,
I say it's called Second Sight or something. It's just like the game within the game. It's great.
Linking it back to Stadia, the most recent example of that would be Doom Eternal.
Yeah. Doom Eternal. We've mentioned actually before in Wolfenstein, you can play like the originals within that, which is always cool. Yeah. With or without Hitler. And in at number 1, whether you believe us or not, according to Ranker, not mine, but Super Mario Portrait appears in the courtyard in Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
I mean, you don't have to believe us; it is actually there.
No, believe it or not, it's number 1.
It's the number 1 Easter egg.
The number 1 Easter egg of all time. That's me a bit. Is it though? Really? I feel like
it's a very well known one. It's arguably the most known, but is it the best? I don't know.
We'll see. But a few honorable mentions really quickly before we wrap up the show. I've got the Arkham City map is in the Secret Room Batman Arkham Asylum. Really like that. Hidden Mickey is in Aladdin on the Genesis version, which if you buy it, you can get 3 extra life. There is Wario on Mount Rushmore in Pilot Wing 64. Yeah. Which is always cool. I
remember discovering that one myself.
What the giant Wario face. Yeah. Altair is dead in a hay bale on The Witcher 2, Assassin of Kings.
I really like that one. That's a funny one. That is.
It's the ones that cross pollinate that are funny because they're not digs at them. It's just that everyone knows you should die jumping into those hay bales. Guitar Hero is for sale in the Amazing Spider-Man game, and one recently I've played through is in The Last of Us. You can find the Naughty Dog pinata characters of like Nathan Drake, Jack and Daxter. And there's an interview when you go through the toy shop. There's a Uncharted board game also there, so it's kind of like they're in the same universe according to the newspaper article from Uncharted 3. Yeah, but also they're also games within it. Uncharted board game.
Naughty Dog could exist in that world.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then final one is you've got you can explore the island from TV's Lost in its entirety in Just Cause 2.
Fantastic.
It's got its own thing.
I know Borderlands 2 had a cave you could go in that when you went deep enough into it, it turned into Minecraft. Like you literally.
That's cool. Oh yes.
Walk through, and then everything is suddenly Minecraft textures, creepers, like all this stuff right there. So I really appreciate when the devs go like that far into it and just think.
Just give it a nice homage.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, lovely. But that brings a conclusion to our excellent episode of Sounds of Stadia, episode 29. We hope you've had an extremely good time. And try and think of anything else that says egg in it, egg on my face, whatever it may be. But yes, thank you very much for listening, tuning in. Remember to check us out over on youtube.com/Sounds of Stadia, our Twitter account to keep in the loop with all the news. But more importantly, we hope you have a safe and enjoyable week with your friends and family, loved ones, however you stay communicating with them. I've been Chris.
I've been Tom.
I've been Richie.
We've been Sounds of Stadia. Thanks for watching, everybody.
See you next time.
See you next time.
I was just about to say bye then as well. Bye.
Oh dear. Goodbye. Sing us out, Chase.
Sounds of Stadia, my favorite podcast.